We're back after kind of a long hiatus, accidentally. It's actually been quite busy here despite staying home and everything kind of the same as it's been the past couple months. But we're back and we're on Bhujangasana, which is Cobra Pose. Although here, BKS Iyengar says that it means serpent. Bhujanga means serpent. In this posture, lie flat on the floor, face downwards, lift the body up from the trunk, and throw the head back like a serpent about to strike. One thing I'm coming to appreciate about his descriptions is that while I've sort of criticized him for not being more specific, I like, in a way, how simplistic he is, in the sense that, you know, that pretty much tells you what to do and you don't need to overthink it. Maybe I've been overthinking it a little bit, or maybe I've been coming at it wanting really specific instructions, but really, you know, maybe it doesn't need that much specificity. So this is 1 star out of 60 in terms of difficulty, so the easiest one. And here's what it looks like. Let's talk about the technique. Lie on the floor face downwards. Extend the legs, keeping the feet together. Keep the knees tight and the toes pointing. So one thing I'll already say is that if this pinches in your low back, you can move your feet and legs a little bit further apart to create some more space. Also, if you hear a little jingling bell sound, that's Oliver playing with his toy in the background. I'll put some footage of him playing at the end of this video, so make sure you watch till the end. Rest the palms by the side of the pelvic region, which is pretty low, and if you look at this photo, I don't really think it looks like his hands are all the way down by the pelvic region. Usually we'd say place your hands under your shoulders, so he's kind of saying place them a little bit lower. I'd almost say more so it looks like he has them in the waist region, not the pelvic region. So inhale, press the palms firmly on the floor and pull the trunk up. He's saying pull the trunk up, which implies that you're using your core, your shoulders, your muscles to pull your trunk up, but he's also saying to press into the floor. Generally speaking, in most vinyasa classes nowadays, if you're doing Cobra, you're either told to press into the floor to lift your trunk, or you're told to maybe even hover your hands to make sure that you're not using pressing to lift yourself up and make it more of a muscular exercise. So this is interesting that he's saying you can do both at the same time. Oliver is being very funny. Make sure you watch till the end for the videos of him. He says take 2 breaths in this sort of first little position. And then step 4, inhale, lift the body up from the trunk until the pubis is in contact with the floor, which is kind of confusing because the pubis should have been in contact with the floor this entire time. Stay in this position with the weight on the legs and palms. Contract the anus and the buttocks, tighten the thighs. Maintain the pose for about 20 seconds, breathing normally. Exhale, bend the elbows and rest the trunk on the floor. Repeat the pose 2 or 3 times and then relax. Next, the posture is a panacea for an injured spine, and in the cases of, can you guess what? Slight displacement of spinal discs, the ever-present problem in this book. The practice of this pose replaces the discs in their original position. The spinal region is toned and the chest fully expanded. All right, let's try it out. Cobra Pose. All right, coming down onto the floor. Here's my legs spread open and here they are together. So I'm gonna put them together. I'm gonna have my toes pointed. Okay, and then he said to put your hands by your pubic region, but this is really far back. And you can see my palms don't, the heel of my palms don't hit the floor if I go this far back. So normally I'd say put your hands under your shoulders for Cobra Pose, but since he's saying to put your hands by your pubic bone, I'll put it maybe like halfway down. So it's more by my waist. So you're hugging everything in and then pressing, engaging through the legs, contracting the buttocks and the anus, he said, pressing my hips down and then lifting everything up by both reaching up using the muscles in my back and shoulders and also pressing into my hands. So this is sort of step 1. It's a little harder to hold here because I'm using a lot of my muscles and not really, you know, just resting on my straight arms. So this is step 1. And then he says for step 2 to lift, keep the pelvis down, but lift everything up. So when I lift everything up, my hips come off the floor. So you want your hips to stay on the floor. So there's 2 things you can do with this. Either you don't lift up as high, or you do lift up as high, the highest that you can go, and you kind of let your hips reach towards the ground, which is what I'm trying to do here. It's a little bit more like up dog here, except that I'm not trying to lift my hips off the ground. I'm not trying to lift my pubic bone off the ground. I'm actually trying to let that bone sink towards the ground. Whereas in up dog, I'd be lifting everything up on purpose. So I'm still trying to keep my legs engaged, my butt engaged, my hips on the ground. So maybe I'll come down a little bit. there's still a lot of strengthening happening here through my arms and my back, and then back down. And he says to do this a couple times. That's fine. You can do it once or a couple times. And also to counter this, you're going to want to go into a child's pose. I'm going to do embryo pose, which is with the legs together, since my legs were already together, and my arms down by my sides. So this is a counter pose you're going to want to do after doing Cobra a couple times. Tomorrow we will do upward facing dog, which is basically like a variation of this. I'll talk to you then. Stay tuned right now for a little bit of video of Oliver being cute, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Look who's keeping watch while I do this yoga for you.